Well, welcome one, welcome all here on your wonderful show. Again, live with Maponga J on Universal Galaxy Network on your show, Sankofa, your host. Chigaramboko Garamashamba Huda Chira na wanawanji. Mogogo na wamukulu. Awaze Makaya, wherever you are in Bujumbura, you are in Lilongwe, you could be somewhere in Abuja, you could be somewhere in Brazzaville, Liberia, Eritrea. Anyway, in the space of Africa where you are on your phone, in your home spaces, wherever you're watching us, thank you very much for giving us space into your homesteads. I'm excited to be with you again here on your program. Sankofa, looking backwards at the future. And for tonight, we have an exciting program lined up for you. A fantastic young man. I can't call him young man because I'm older than him. You know, once in a while you throw some weight, and try and show some art. I went to school with his brother. He is always arguing, saying that I went to school with his elder brother, for that matter, by the name of Alson Bhebe. He's a writer, he's an author, he's a consultant, and a trend, and a thought leader in his own right, and he has written a couple of books, and he's got two in particular, but for tonight, I want us to focus at how he looks at the African problem and how we can possibly begin to package the African problems and seeking for those critical African solutions. And while we were talking in the back there, he was already giving me some background and said, hey, please, don't talk too much. The rest of it, I want the doctor to be on camera. Welcome to the show, and please introduce yourself, the rest of the people there. Who is Mr. Alson Bhebe?
Thank you. Alson Bhebe, I am...
This is a cultural show. How? I go do
Mina ngumhlongo.
Unjomani.
Yeah, unjomani. Yeah, unjomani kamgapi.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. What brings you to our show today?
I'm here to talk about personal development. I'm here to talk about success. Many people think that as Africans, we were brought this idea of personal development, of living a successful life by those who colonized us. And we want to look at whether success is an African thing or it's a foreign thing that was brought to us by those who visited us and now are part of our communities.
In my own world of thought, there is a world of the mind, the world of the heart, and the world of the hand. My definition of success: reduce the distance between your head and your hand. And success is when preparation meets opportunity. You must be prepared for the opportunities that are coming to you. You have three phases. We're going to break the show into three phases. If you're sitting at home there, sit very tight. Take a pen and paper. Books are available. You can also get in touch with the author later on after the show, share his details with you. But while we are doing that, take a pen and paper and write down for yourself personal development strategies this is the gospel according to Alson Bhebe. How can we be successful as individuals, as families, as communities, and ultimately as countries? Over to you, Honorable Alson. Take us through your recipe of success. How can one country, person, family be successful?
Okay, success is a science. So there are laws that guide success. You have to be aware of these laws. You have to know the laws that guide success. So we break down these laws into three segments. The first segment of success is actually spiritual. It's a stage that you don't control. You've got no control.
Beyond your hands.
It's beyond you. It's something that is determined by the one who created us. Whatever it is that you believe created you, whatever it is that led you to
brought you into existence. There's a science there also, right, which is beyond you.
So there are 5 things
in that spiritual space.
In that spiritual space.
Okay.
Which are the 5 laws that guide your success. The first one is your origin.
The laws of origin.
The laws of origin.
Where do I come from?
Where do you come from? For you to be who you are, what brought you to this space that you occupy? What made you to be what you are? So your origins is very important to the life that you then lead. The people that live directionless lives, it is because they have failed to acknowledge that they originate from somewhere. There is someone they should give allegiance to their reason for existence.
For existence.
Yes. I am a creationist myself. I believe that I was created. So I owe my existence to the one who created me.
All right. So the first one is in the space of origin.
The first law is origin.
So there are three segments. We're doing the first segment
We're
right
dealing
now.
with the first segment,
and the first segment,
spirituality.
Spirituality.
Yes.
So the success, there is something we can call spiritual success.
Yes.
Which has 5 pillars on it.
Yes.
And the first pillar under spiritual success is origin.
Origins.
Number 2.
Second pillar is your identity.
Within your origin.
Within your origins.
Identify yourself.
Each individual has an identity. That identity, you don't choose it. You didn't choose it. You didn't choose to be who you are.
The fingerprint.
You didn't choose.
Yeah.
Your dark skin, you didn't choose.
No, mine is not dark. It's navy blue. In other places, they call me Lord Shading, phase 4, you know. But anyway, that's for another
Your
day.
phase 4.
My phase 4.
You didn't.
Because
choose.
some people think that this thing of being yellow-bone is some supernatural thing.
Yeah.
And I got mad the other day because apparently my wife is supposed to be yellow-bone. Then I asked her, how much did you contribute for you to come out as a yellow-bone? Because if I had a choice also to choose, knowing that I was coming here where dark skins would be laughed at, maybe I should have chosen also to be yellow-bone. But there are some things that you are just made out of.
You don't choose.
You don't have control over
Now,
them.
here is the important thing about identity that you don't choose. There are names that we are called by. You have a name that you were given. You have a family name. Your family name did not come from Norway. For your family to be called by that name, there is a legacy behind that name.
The clan names.
The clan names. So that legacy, it identifies you. It should give you direction in your life.
As to what did you used to do?
Yes, you can't live a mediocre life when you know and understand the legacy behind your family name. Even the personal name you were given by your parent, your parent gave you that name for a reason. They had ideals about you.
It
They
evokes,
had expectations.
it evokes something in you.
Yes. So you must live up to the expectation of the name that you are called by.
What is your name?
You will find someone with a name called Blessing living a life as if they are a curse when they are supposed to be a blessing, because that is what they are intended to be. And these names, you see, our parents, when they give birth to us, they have expectations. And remember, the process of giving birth to a child is not entertainment. It's a spiritual thing. For myself as a creationist, the one who created me gave us a direction as human beings that we must be fruitful and multiply. So we give birth in response to his instruction, and then we name
It's a
our
spiritual
kids.
obedience.
Yes. He said, be fruitful.
Manje mawunikeza umntwana igama elithi umzanembi. Umzanembi. The one who brings war. Babe kubizwa nje umzanembi noma kuthulile nje, even when it is peaceful mawufika nje ufanele uqumi ibhamu nenduku ke lapho.
Now, this is a lesson that we must learn as parents. That when you are giving your child a name, to begin with, when you are making a child, you are participating in something that is spiritual.
Wow.
So when you name that child, be aware that you are naming the child to fulfill your spiritual obligation. So the child must have a name that will fulfill that spiritual.
But you're putting me on the spot now. Now my name gives me lots of work to do now. My father called me Joshua now. Now I don't know what to do. I must first of all go and find out where are the Israelites and where is Moses, and we can see how we cross over. We cross over the river Jordan, you know.
There is something that Joshua did, which your father is looking up to you to do.
Okay.
Joshua led the Israelites. Your father is expecting you to lead Africa.
Okay.
My name is an English name. My name is Alson. My father gave me my name because in the village where he grew up, the chief who was reigning at that time was called Alson.
Okay.
And I was named
Bakunika
after
the Kamalenduna,
that chief.
they gave you after that.
So they have those expectations about
That you, there must be some inclination to royalty and stuff like that. So you gave us under the rule number 1, the spiritual rule.
It's
you gave us
origins,
origins.
and then
you gave us identity. Number 3.
Now, once you have, once you know who you are, as a human being, somebody said as human beings who are hopelessly social, you cannot avoid interacting and relating with other human
people.
beings. Yes. So
like these social media platforms that make us antisocial.
We cannot avoid those relations with other people. And then someone said, people are your most valued asset as you pursue your journey to success. So once you know your origins, once you know your identity, you must be conscious of relations that you create with other people.
And those relationships are not just, since we are talking spiritual,
yes,
I want to stay on that.
Yeah.
Because even those relationships which you are manifesting still must have a spiritual connection.
Yes, you don't choose to relate with other people.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in you.
It's intrinsically ingrained in you.
You take a human being, put them on solitary confinement, physiologically they will have a problem. They'll get sick.
Psychologically.
Yes.
And some people are dangerous by themselves. You leave them alone, they'll kill themselves.
Yes.
They're not good partners to themselves. They always pray, Lord, please protect me from my enemies. And they don't know they are the worst enemies to themselves. Let's run quickly on the other three.
Okay.
So under spiritual, we have
origins, identity, self-awareness, creating relations with other people.
Yes.
Then the fourth one is self-confidence.
Self-confidence.
Yeah. You have to be confident in everything that you do. Confidence is a feeling. Confidence is an attitude. Confidence is a mindset. This is something that you can decide to be, you can choose to be, because it is ingrained in you. It is not an attribute
You're going to borrow it somewhere.
and look for from someone.
You don't look
else.
for confidence.
Yes.
It's tapping into
there's
you.
no one who can come to you and make you confident. It comes from within.
Yeah.
It's spiritual.
Wow.
Self-confidence. Then the fifth one is each one of us, every human being, 7 billion of us in the world, we're all unique. We all have unique natural skills, unique talents. Those talents, those natural skills that you have, you didn't choose them. They're spiritual.
So under the spiritual realm, there are five centers of power, which you can tap into. And all these are recipes for success. I like the one you mentioned towards the end, which is confidence. And that's why maybe I can punch in a little hole there and remind us of our totems as Africans. We imagine when you have made a mess and then your mother says, how mukanya, you know, the pride of the lions, how and you begin to, and something in you, immediately when someone does not address you by your personal name and they look at your spiritual naming, which has to do with your totemic thing, something inside you just seems to kick into that confidence. Hence, if someone gives you a gift right now and says, oh, nice gift, Alson, and someone comes and says, how Njoman, ngupatele something, which one sounds much better? Here with us on studio today is Alson Bhebe, a social engineer, a leader, a thought leader, a writer, and a consultant taking us through processes of success to be implemented at a personal and a social level. Don't go away. After the break, we still have 2 more to go. We've just dealt with number 1, the spiritual dimension. We'll be back after the break.
Make massive moves.
The space race has already started.
Russia had got the first object into space.
The coast is as wild today as it was when Europeans settled the continent.
Enormous beasts with enormous thirst. The teams are primed and ready.
They got the first animal into space, and they got the first person.
Time to see what the boys can do.
Make massive moves with Starsat. Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
We don't want to do this. There is nothing you can take.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside finds Pachulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with Starsight. Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
We don't want to do this. There is nothing you can take.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside, finds Petulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with Starsight.
Back in the studio with me here is Utatu Njomane, Ubebe, me, Chigaramboko, Garamashamba, Huda, Chirana Navanwe. We're discussing some interesting concepts in the line of personal development and how to build, nurture success. And I like what he said at the beginning of the program. Success is a science. It's a science. Science has to do with formulas, it's tested formulas that give you an expected outcome. And he has just given us the first 5 elements. If you have just joined us, the first 5 elements in the first section, which is the spiritual section, issues of identity, issues of, attitude, issues of culture, the whole software that you bring with you from the spiritual realm. Boom! And another bomb that he released, giving birth to children is not entertainment. It is a spiritual activity where we are fulfilling a requirement that is spiritual. But all of us, when we are being born, as they say in some cultures, that you are born in this culture with your hands closed, clasped like this. Because by the time you are popping up into this world, it will take us time. Though when we open your hands, we can't find anything. But we believe that everyone who is born into this world, they are born with capacity, potential, things that it will take you a lifetime to read the palms of your hands and find out what is it that the supernatural had placed in your hands. Phase 2.
Okay, the second phase now, we are moving to the space where the community you reside in also play a part in your development, in your success journey. Now we are looking at the cultural laws of success. So in the cultural laws of success, remember the last one we touched on the spiritual realm, we said that we all have unique talents, unique gifts, skills, right? These skills, these talents, you can develop them. So the first law in the cultural space is training and development.
Training and development.
So training takes place both in the formal and in the informal space. Right? There are things we do informally that helps us develop our natural skills. When we go to school, we are also helped to develop our natural skills. So training and development, the space where you are, the people that are around you, they help you build you, they help you develop these natural skills.
So I hear you saying that the first one, you are giving us the intrinsic elements of success.
Yes.
Then the second phase, these are enablers.
These are, yes.
These are the enabling environment.
Yes.
So that your attitude and your culture and your identity and everything else needs to move into a social and community environment where now they are being encouraged to be.
Yes.
All right.
Good. So the first in the cultural
success
laws,
paradigm,
first one is training and development.
Yes.
At home, even the little child, we train that child. We help that child develop. The second one is what I call support structures.
Support structures.
Within our communities, we have support structures. These support structures, they begin from the family itself. Your own parents, your siblings, your relatives, they help you develop those natural skills.
Peer groups.
Your peer groups, even your religious organizations, they help you, build you up.
Cultural initiations, rites of passages.
Yes, all those, they are developing you, helping you build your natural skills so that you become a useful person in society. Success, actually, is being useful to your community.
Success
is being useful to your community.
So you cannot be successful when you are sitting in Sandton, drinking champagne, and your community is in trouble.
No one can succeed
away from the community.
Alone. It's impossible.
Wow, I like that definition.
Alone. That is impossible.
Success, take note, success is being useful to your community. Your success cannot be in isolation of your own community. I like that. That's a powerful statement.
So that is...
I wish all the politicians were listening out there. And you know, success is not giving money in Mauritius and flying to Cayman Islands with stolen government money. That's not success. Success is, you cannot be a community leader, you're a member of parliament, you're a minister, and the village where you come from, they're still drinking sewage water. Sis, shame on you, shame on you. True success is your usefulness in your own community.
As long as there are people around you who are not doing well,
you
cannot count yourself successful.
Wow.
It's impossible.
Wow.
So we have
community environment,
yes.
Second level.
Yes. So we have these support structures that help us to be successful. Your family, your friends, your
church.
It can even be an individual. Someone can have a role model. You can be someone's role model, and as an individual, you become that person's success.
I don't want anyone I don't want to become a role model of anyone. They will accumulate enough enemies to die before they die. You know, I have enough of my struggles. If anyone, I almost feel like talking like Jesus sometimes. Hey, I want to become your student. And I say, hey, take your cross and follow. Because it's not a walk in the park, you know.
Yeah, so somebody said you are a very controversial figure.
But
and they say controversy sells.
Controversy sells.
So yeah, so someone can pick you as a role model. Okay. Anyway, the point that we're bringing about is you can have an individual as your support structure
to
help you, groom you, so that you become useful, so that
and help you to sharpen those intrinsic values
that you
already have.
Yes. And then the third one is community development.
Community development.
This one, it actually splits into two, because there is the ideals of the community, what the community wants to achieve. You know, when the community sits to decide of things that it wants to do, those things, they help its members. So when the community says it wants to build roads
or dams,
it means that we can buy a car and drive on that road. When the community says it wants to build a dam, it means we're going to have clean water to drink.
And agriculture.
So it means we're going to have agriculture, we're going to have garden, we'll produce our own food. So it will help us to develop. So whatever the community sits and decides to do,
those are opportunities.
Those are opportunities, and that helps its people. Right. Now, with community development, for community to sit and decide that they want to do well, they have to have the right leaders. So within the community, there must come up leaders that can lead the community to develop. So without leaders that lead you in the right direction, you can't be successful. Somebody must be leading you. And then, as members of the community, you also must be activists that push for the enactment of laws, for the enactment of an environment.
Correct leadership. Yeah,
that will then lead and guide you towards your journey to success. So you can't call yourself successful when you are sitting at home and not actively participating in developing the environment.
Where you're coming from.
That will help
what
you
you're saying now is quite painful, because you look at many of our African communities which have reserves of platinum, reserves of gold and chrome, agricultural, products and etc., and valuable quarry sites that are on the land of the community leaders. And how amazing that people from outside of those communities drive their trucks to those communities as if there's no leadership. Reverse their trucks into those quarry sites, load up the stones, the gold, the chrome, the platinums, and etc., and drive past those villages. Look at the oil pipes that are flowing through Nigeria from the delta. I was there the other day and find this huge big pipe, almost like a meter and a half diameter width of a pipe, well jacked up and lined up on metals like this, flying through villages, written on it BP, British Petroleum, pulling out oil from the Niger Delta, pumping it into Britain for processing, and yet people are queuing in Nigeria. They don't even have oil on them. So when you begin to talk issues of like cultural awareness and cultural alertness, correct leadership, it does not just mean that you have leaders who are piling up things in their pockets, but are these leaders aware of their own communities and possibly the contribution of the resources that the community has at their disposal, and how can these resources actually become an enabling factor to developing those communities. Dubai has always been my best example, where one country neither has the temperature nor the agriculture, but they've been able to turn their desert into a capital city of the world simply because they've been able to beneficiate their own raw material, which is the oil. So very important. I'm listening.
The situation is actually very bad because the next person you meet, if you ask them who their local councillor is, the name, they don't know.
They don't know.
There is someone who is sitting in council making laws
that affect
you.
The sewage pipe is burst in front of your door.
Service delivery, and the person who is supposed to enact those laws, you don't know them by name. You don't know where they stay. You don't know their term of office. You don't know when the next local government.
The last time we saw them, they were giving us T-shirts.
Yeah.
And caps.
Right. So it is.
The community can enable a person to develop success.
Yes.
I heard you well on. So you mentioned three, just quick revision.
Right. So the first one is training and development. The second one is the support structures. Then the third one is community development. Now
which has leadership in it.
Which has leadership in it.
Number 4.
Which has leadership and activism.
Yes. And participation.
Very, very, very important.
Don't be passive about the community. Get involved.
Know your councillor, know your member of parliament, know the offices where parliament he has got a representative coming to hear your
views in the issues.
Yes. You ask someone, where is the office for your parliament? They don't even know. And by the way, before we move away from this quickly, I belong to a religious community, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, that takes a position that they are apolitical. We are apolitical.
You don't want to go there. That is, you don't want me to discuss that.
I will not discuss
Protect me. You say what you want to say.
We will not discuss
I will not say anything. I will be a fly on the wall.
But I want to walk past it and say that.
At your own risk.
Yes. I want to walk past it and say that we live in communities. But we don't want to participate in the things that helps us. So there are some things that we take positions. When we take positions on some things, we must sit back and reflect and think about the positions that we take, that we hold on to, and to see if those positions are effective, are helping us, or they are actually working against us. If they are working against us, then we have no option but to come back.
A quick revision of the 4.
It's your
under the community success,
cultural laws of success,
the
training, support structures, community development. Then the fourth one is these natural skills that you have. When you have identified your space in the community, your natural skills, you can monetize them.
Now
you can earn a living out of your natural skills.
Put value.
You have identified what your community lacks, what your community needs, and then you use that to improve yourself, to develop yourself. The business that you want to run, if it is in line with your natural skills, you definitely succeed in what you are doing. The profession that you want to do, when we take our kids through career guidance, if we are helping them choose a career on the things they are naturally skilled
It must be much easier.
then it makes life easy for everyone.
Hold it right there. When you come back after the break, we're doing the last one. So we've done the first two now, which is spiritual development. We're also looking at community, how the community can enable a person to develop their skills. When you come back after the break, we're looking at the third element. Then I think on the last few moments, then I'll pick up the professor's head here on a couple of other issues. We'll be back just after the break.
Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
You don't want to do this. There is nothing you can take.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside finds Pachulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with Starsight. Make massive moves.
Isn't that your daughter's bib? But the truth is, I feel like Arabella's always with me.
Don't you ever forget this man's face. He killed your brother.
Don't shoot! Please don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Make massive moves with Starsight.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
that economy which is in your space, which is in your area,
in your community, in your environment,
it gives us the socio-economic environment. Within that socio-economic environment, you find your space because spiritually,
your position,
you did not choose to be where you are. You were placed there. And the community where you are living in helps you build yourself to be useful. Because remember, we said success is being useful
to the community.
To the community. So you then have this space in the socio-economic environment that you occupy as an individual. This is where maybe we can get to excite you a little bit. Because this is where we find the problem of Africa. The problem that we have in Africa is that instead of us understanding these first 9 things, which are the laws of success, we start with the socio-economic.
Social-economic development.
That's where we start.
We're discussing social-economic development. How do you develop a social-economic policy without understanding the spirituality,
we start at
of
the end.
The identity of the people, the roots of the people, the skills, the talents of the people? How do you just? That's why we end up putting schools, and when people are angry, they ban those schools.
That is exactly where I wanted to go to. That when a child goes to school, we send the child to school not because we have identified their spiritual space. We have identified who they are. We send a child to school
to go and find themselves
because of the socio-economic space. We were told when we were growing up, go to school, my child, so that you become a teacher. Go to school, my child, so that you become
a doctor. Not that you are a teacher. Now go and learn how to teach. You go to school so that you can become. How do you become what you are already?
What you are not. Yeah.
No. I'm saying the opposite.
Okay.
If you can identify your spiritual gift
to be a teacher,
and you know what you are.
Yes.
You are born, for example, some of in the traditional space. You are already born with skills of herbs. You're already born with skills of crafts. You can see from the time the child is born. Then by the time you're going to school, you are sharpening, you're improving on what is intrinsically in your. And I think much of success is when talent and intrinsic values and attitudes are placed in the right environment. You flourish.
Yeah.
You flourish. I mean, you were born in naturally. A 2-year-old kid can already play drums.
Without anyone teaching them how to play
already
drums.
They have it in their system.
Yes.
The only thing left, if you can place them now, it's okay, Mjana, now here is how you, if the talent is already there, then.
So that child who already knows naturally how to play drums, if you send them to school to improve their skill
on their drums.
Don't
ask them to become IT people now.
Yes, and the parents.
Or becoming an accountant.
Parents also, we get it wrong because at times we send our kids to school to go and become what we failed to be ourselves.
Oh my word.
I wanted to be a teacher, I failed to be a teacher, I sent my child to go and learn to be a teacher.
And now he's sending me to school to go and pass mathematics, which he failed also.
Yeah. Whereas that child, you were given that child from a realm that you don't control.
Oh, man.
Child just came
when you mention things like that, my spirit wants to leap out, Because I mean, what you are saying is quite. I don't want. No, but the more serious note. I don't want you to miss the depth of what you are mentioning, because without saying it in many words, you are saying the DNA of birth is already encapsulated. Let me speak in English. The DNA of birth is already encapsulated with barrage of tapestry of skills, of talents and gifts, in as much as they are visible and juvenile, in some cases infant, in terms of being small. But if these skills should be placed in the correct environment, you already have inside you what you are. You are not going to become it. You already are it. What is just left is the correct environment. It's almost like a seed. All you need is a correct ground, the correct soil, the correct temperature, and boom, the correct season.
course.
And there, the seed shoots out on the ground. Had we understood that our lives are actually packaged like that, I think we should stop frustrating our children with school and start developing the social development space that they must actually come to a realization. You mentioned consciousness.
In fact, we must be having themed schools. There must be a school for agriculture, because once I've identified that my child is good with agriculture, from grade 1, they must be learning things to do with agriculture.
Now you force them to become a nurse.
Yeah. Because the socio-economic environment says we need nurses. So you want to force the child to go,
someone has got an X on their head. And they have no passion or love for human beings. But they went, Mizukala went, no figure early. You know, and people have no emotion as far as being a nurse is concerned, and yet they are working and practicing as nurses. You're a community social worker who does not have love or passion for the community. Yeah. And yet you say you're a politician who does not love people.
Yeah.
So what are you leading? So what you're saying is quite fundamental. Therefore, our professions, what we might call professions, you are saying they must be linked to our talent, and our spiritual DNA.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Unless you are pursuing the things you are naturally gifted in, you've got it wrong. So the economic environment that we have, who controls it? I always marvel when I hear our leaders say we want to revive this economy by creating jobs. Creating jobs.
Who creates jobs?
Who creates jobs?
Don't create jobs.
Yeah.
What must you do instead?
Give people the environment to utilize their natural skills. Give people the environment to be useful.
To their own community.
Yes. Not for someone to come and say, I want to mine here, I'm going to employ you as my miners.
They've created employment.
And then I'll pay you a salary. You've created. That's not the creation of the work that we want. The work that will develop us is when we are practicing our natural skills. Because we have to respect the fact that those skills, you did not choose them. Your creator gave you those skills. Your creator had a purpose for you.
It's amazing what you're saying, that actually school and our political environment has become a graveyard of talent.
Yes.
It has become actually a funeral parlor where people are loaded. No wonder these are the writer says the graveyard, that's why it grows grass.
Yeah.
It's the amount of gifts and talents that were never realized. Because they never utilized the gifts and the talents that they have. When you come back after the break, we'll be exploring another dimension of how can we become more successful in the 21st century and tapping into our own internal cultural knowledge system. With me in studio today, Alson Bhebe, a thought leader and a writer, taking us through some paces on personal development. Don't go away. We'll be back right after the break.
Make massive moves.
Bible is